Hey, folks, welcome back. We took a week off last week, so we feel a little more refreshed, and we're coming back to explain to you today what puts us into that mood to really get into flow. Flow, as all of you guys are probably very familiar with, is that state of when you're able to just work, the world disappears around you, and you are right in that problem. You're able to fix it. You're able to work through. You're able to create. It is probably the most creative space we want to be in. We're going to chat a little bit about that today. I need to get back there, and I'm having trouble, so I'll be turning to the Yons, and they have some suggestions for me based on what they're doing. So we're going to go through that. And guys, what is this? This is episode 83, isn't it?
82.
This week in MeteorJS, the weekly newscast of the MeteorJS Dispatches podcast. My name is Alim Gafar, coming to you live from New York City.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dvorak, to you live from Prague.
And we have with us here also.
Hello, this is Küster coming from my Zen office in Germany.
And with that, we are bringing you back the news. So let's get to it.
All right. The first big news is that the state of web dev AI is out. This was a survey that was earlier in the month. Oh, no, sorry, not in the month, in the year. It kind of feels like it has been already an eternity, especially around AI, where things change so quickly. Sasha has released an article on Dev2 with some key takeaways, which I'll quickly take you through it. And you can also then kind of go into the data for yourself to see. So this was the first state of web dev AI, and I'm kind of looking forward to see how much it's going to be changing through the years as with other surveys, though I think this is a survey that could probably be taken every quarter, given how things are moving. So quick takeaways. For the AI model, it doesn't matter how cheap, fast, or intelligent model is if you can trust its output. So that's the one of the biggest complaints people have about it. If it starts hallucinating imports or components that do not exist, then everything else is out of the window. Right now, or at least for now, plugin code assistants are more popular than dedicated IDEs or code generation services, which I'm kind of interested how much that has changed. I'm kind of like in the middle on that. The third takeaway is while AI code generation is common, the amount of code being generated by AI with no human oversight is still relatively small. And this is a couple of months back. So I think this has changed, especially as we have seen the rise of vibe coding. So where the amount of AI code is generated to 100%. So that's going to be interesting. Despite AI popularity, there are also signs that monetization might still be a struggle, especially given AI's high operation costs. We'll have more on that in one part a bit later. And finally, despite its very real flaws, AI is now an integral part of developers' workflow, yet they are also conscious of its potential drawbacks. So kind of the opposite of the vibe coders there, and have another article recently that was also covered by other people that and the result of that is that we kind of need to keep on strengthening our own skills, but also it will probably change how we work and how we should structure our day, and I will touch more on that later. Finally, here you have a link to the full results. So it's 2025.stateofai.dev, and then you can go into all the data that that's in the survey.
Did we know about the survey ahead of time?
Yes, I did report on it, and I advertise it. I advertise all of state of surveys. I get the emails and everything, and so it definitely was mentioned. And I always tell people to go and take it.
Okay, I'm very curious what they mean when they say what that no human oversight. I don't understand, because if you're prompting, isn't there some implied human oversight there in the first place?
I think in this case it would be actually checking what the code looks like when it was generated.
Okay.
So actually looking on the PR and not just merging it, and actually checking that the code, underneath it, actually is there and it does what you told it to do, and
Sure.
instead of as I said, wipe coding and just trusting and hitting accept on everything without any checking.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Really
Speaking
cool.
of costs and all that stuff, we have some news on that. Jan, what's this about?
Yeah, you guys have seen us using Windsurf IDE, and apparently Windsurf IDE is not only popular among us, but also among people so much that OpenAI now intends to buy Windsurf for nearly $3 billion, and that would be crazy as hell. Because here's the thing. OpenAI also funded some startups that nowadays offer the Cursor IDE, so a direct competitor. And I mean, that would be a crazy move, right? You fund a competitor and then you buy the competing product, and nobody knows anymore on which side you're on, and the trust is gone 100%. And I mean, I know there are some other tech companies and CEOs that are doing things like this as well, and it's just credibility wars on full scale right now. So let's see how that works out, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Alim.
No, so I was just going to say that as far as that's concerned, I think a lot of these companies, and I can't even make myself large anymore. I was going to try to, but it's not happening. So I'm trying to be a producer here, and I can put Dvorak up. I can put Küster up. Oh, I changed something, right? But I can't put myself up. I don't know why. I guess I just have to. I just have to grab myself and put it that way. All right. So no, the thing I was going to say about this is, as far as credibility, I don't know how much we can put there. Let's be honest. All of these are profit-seeking, actors. And at the end of the day, even though it might be their own cohort that they were supporting at one time, if it turns out that there is another product that is either better or has more attention, is more likely to own the market, then it makes sense that they would go there. So I think they're just acting as capitalist actors, and it's not that they don't necessarily have faith in the thing that they were incubating. But I mean, they made a bet, right? They don't run that company, so it may very well be that they just feel that bet is not as doesn't have as high an outcome, a likely outcome, as going with windsurf. So that's just my view on it. It's just I don't think that there's any moral or moral view that you can really take on it. So
yeah, well, another take is that this could be a embrace and extinguish as well. So they buy it, kill the product, and move the people to one of their own or something else, or similarly like their with all the different editors around VS Code, how Microsoft pretty much when they bought GitHub and Code and all that stuff. So same issue.
I also think it's a little bit critical because we are using, for example, Claude, which is a direct competitor in Windsurf. At least we use Claude, which is a direct competitor to ChatGPT, and so that might not be far-fetched, that strategy to get the competitor close. I mean, what's 3 billion to them when they just get their what's their current valuation? Their hot thin air valuation of 300 billion. What?
Yeah, but they also want to buy Chrome, right? So there are plenty of other things that are going on there that we're just hang on a second. Now I've got to drag this back. I've got to drag myself back off. Why is it doing this? Give me 1 second. Like my competence as hang on 1 sec. Let me just bring myself back off here. What is going on, Alim? This is not. There we go. All right, so I'm going to keep my day job as not a producer, and go from there. Okay, so lots of interesting things with Windsurf going on. So what else is happening? As a matter of fact, let's stay with Windsurf for a minute, because I believe that they have also made some internal changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And kind of related to this, another thing is, okay, when can we expect the enshittification that usually follows these acquisition and price hikes? Well, actually, the story right now is that you could say there is a simplification of pricing. If you remember how we've worked with Windsurf, it was, okay, how many flow credits have I used? How many of the other credits have I used? So they have now simplified their pricing. You get 500 credits, and the 500 credits are even more simplified, that they count your actual prompts. So it's not, it doesn't count all the other action that the AI takes. It just counts, the prompting, you send it through. So one prompt, one credit, which, bit of a head scratcher for me, how that is going to work out financially for them. But given,
financially for you.
Well, for me, it's definitely, I would say, better, because I always run out of the flow credits, which was the actions that the AI was taking. I never run out of the regular credits. So though I have had recently just somebody who said that they ran out of the 500 credits in 3 days, which kind of makes me wonder how they manage that. But that's a different story. It might have been also before this change. So definitely,
I think they were building a replacement to ChatGPT.
Yeah, definitely. Things are pretty exciting right now on Windsurf. And on top of this, they also extended for another week the ChatGPT 4.1 and the O4 mini models, for free in Windsurf. So very interesting week happening here for Windsurf with all these news.
Küster. No opinions, Küster?
I don't know. I don't want to draw early conclusions that this is already a step towards the move of OpenAI taking over. Something like, hey, you see, we are much more valuable. Throw your money at us because.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, let's see what the future brings. I can only make predictions. I can't make predictions. I can only make assumptions here.
All right. And folks, if you are watching, you can support us by liking the episode. Just hit the thumbs up button, and let us know that you enjoy what we're doing right now, and we will continue doing so. Okay, and let's get next to the Meteor news itself.
Yes, Meteor news. Today I have only 2 updates for you. First of all, on the Meteor 3.3, beta 0 is available, with beta 1 coming next week. Beta 0 of 3.3 brings you Express 5.1, and most interestingly, improvements to the build tools when it comes to just say internal use. For you, what it practically means is that the build tools should be faster. So this is especially interesting for larger projects, and it's also kind of building up to make it easier to adopt Vite and other in the future. So definitely, please check it out. There's a few more other improvements around this. Mostly Nacho and the core team are really spearheading this. And I think it's super, super exciting. And there's already from previous episodes, there is a attempt to profile the build tool and to speed it up. So this is just the next step on that. Related to this is there's been an update in React packages, specifically the React Meteor data. Right now, there's going to be a major version, so version 4. Beta 0, major version, because the use find hook is changing its, could say, default signature, so it's more in line with the default behavior of other hooks when it comes to dependency array. So definitely check that out, because also included in this are as well performance improvements and addressing issue with suspense and re-rendering too much and all that stuff. So if you use React and Meteor's React hook, this is definitely something that you want to try out. I definitely recommend it. For example, I put it in and I've got too many re-renders warning on some places where I didn't have dependencies arrays on use find. So it can also at this point help you identify potential existing problems without that you have, that you can fix, and you can kind of go back to the previous versions without any punishment, and it should hopefully also help you improve your existing application just before you update as well. So that is the Meteor news for this week. We'll have more coming in next week.
Okay. And listen, if you really appreciate what we're doing, this is 83 episodes in now. So if you're lurking around and haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button. Join us. Okay. We would love to have you on as a member and keep you informed of what's going on here. Okay.
Yeah. Alim, I'd like to add something here to our non-subscribers, there's also one reason why we ask you to subscribe so often, and that is if we post a link here or we are showing any other tools or products or something, these are not affiliate links. We're not getting any money out of this. And besides our sponsors, our regular sponsors, we give all this information for free. And this is why we think that we want to get closer to monetization, for example, due to subscribers and watch time. So this is our way, and this is why we ask you to subscribe. And we will also keep the links free. That's very important. We don't want to sell products over the stream, for example.
Yeah. Apologies, guys. I'm trying to... I have some difficulty right now with clicking on... Okay, now it's back. So the UI had some issues with me being able to swap out different scenes, and I'm still running into a little bit of that problem right now with this. I'm hoping that hang on, let's just get this back working again. And that's not the one. Yeah, so there is a little problem I'm having right now with the UI. So let's see if I can fix it. Yeah, no, I'm not able to get Küster. Well, there you are, Küster. I have to just manually swap you. Okay, guys. Oh, now. Okay, now it's back. So let me bring it back over. And what are we doing next? What's next here?
Who's introducing?
I
think it's Storyteller, right? So Storyteller.
So yeah, before we really jump into this, we already had kind of talked about the state of AI, and there is a completely new survey or another new survey from the state of folks, which is the state of devs. And that one is really asking, hey, developers, how are you doing? What are your hobbies? Where do you live? What do you do to kind of relax? And, what's your favorite music? What's your favorite movies? All those things to kind of get to know a bit more better the online community, or stuff like, do you contribute to open source? So it goes a bit beyond the classical, what's your age, what's your gender, where do you live, that you kind of have in all those surveys. This kind of goes a little bit more in depth, which kind of ties into our topic today, because a lot of the question is they're like our favorite music, and all those things tie into what gets us into the groove.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Alim.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, by the way, and I introduced this way, which is we've been chatting among ourselves about vibe coding and so on, and how how these new tools are affecting software development. I think a couple of episodes a couple of episodes back, Küster mentioned one of the things that how he actually like gets into coding and so on, and how this new paradigm might not be so attractive. And I think we're at a point now where we're trying to figure out like how much we can use these new tools and how well they fit in. But part of that is understanding like what gets you into a flow state that allows you to be creative and productive. And in the past, when I was coding, I had an office that I went to, and I I had my computers, I had my workstations that I worked from, and my desk, and I had a door, and when I wanted to sit down and write code, that's what I did. Was I got in there, chatted with people for a bit, got my soda and cigarettes. I know it's old man, and then I would sit down and I would work, and sometimes I would work for hours and hours, and if the door was closed, it meant don't come in. And I don't have that situation today. Today I have my Macs here. I've got my MacBook Pro that's sitting in front of me. I sometimes sit at my desk, which is where I'm right now broadcasting from. Sometimes you've seen me shooting from my dining room, and sometimes I will work at the dining room table, and sometimes I will work at my living room, sitting on the sofa. And I also have a Chromebook. So depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I'm using one, I'm using the other. My environments are not entirely the same, and I never quite get into the flow the way I used to. So I asked these two fine Jans, what is it that they do that has gotten them, into this state? And so, who wants to go first here in terms of talking about like your setup, what your environment is? Does the environment matter? Does your desktop matter? Do the tools that you use matter? I'm kind of curious, like what you've got. And then with your IDE, like, do you have a particular layout that you use? I'm trying to figure out ideas that I could use myself to try to get into the mood. I know that you guys are using different tools. I use VS Code lately. It's free. I've gotten used to it. And now with the AI tools that are built in, I tried using Cursor recently. I thought it was a little clunky. So, all right. So with that said, who wants to go first?
I'll start.
Okay.
And I kind of want to preface this, that this could be really used to almost any activity and hobby. What I'm going to talk about here today could be the same thing that I could then apply to my creative writing in many cases. And big disclaimer, what we say here, you can use that for inspiration. You have to try, because everybody is different and everybody is going to have kind of different needs, or it will be different things that will get them into the groove. Somebody for inspiration, for example, has to take long showers, which I admit they help quite a lot. But first things first, as you already Alan mentioned, you kind of need to first find the IDE that fits you the best. For me, that's WebStorm right now, and I'm kind of using Windsurf at the side. I really still cannot get into the VS Code design or the UI. There's just something that does not fit. It might be just the color design. I think that Darkula theme in WebStorm, and together with the fonts and the color of the font, that just works for me. And I was not so far able to replicate that in VS Code or Windsurf. So that's first. Of course, then you have to add all your extensions that you need to that, and So that's when it comes to my setup. I'll just add to it that I'm coding on Ubuntu as an operating system. I have Windows, at least till the fall, till they pull a plug on Windows 10 for gaming and relaxation. And I have Pop OS on my laptop, which is kind of very specific for that laptop. But then the rest of the setup is the same, and it's just a little bit rethemed and specific version of Ubuntu for that. So to kind of get into the flow, there's, I would say, kind of few very specific things, and I'm still working on it. It's still something that I have not, I would say, perfected. I have my office here, still in the works since I have moved recently, so it's not yet finished. Jan will have something better for that. And but a lot of it also kind of comes, I would say, from kind of having a set of actions that you perform every day. So for example, I start my morning by checking out GitHub plus the Meteor forums, kind of to see what has happened since I was asleep, kind of see if there is something interesting. So sometimes that kind of fires me up and kind of gets me maybe looking or trying out some of the new things that came out, to see how that fits into what am I doing. And that's I'll say kind of very critical. I also usually end or try to end on GitHub, but that's mostly for pull requests, and that's kind of related to our, I would say, how we have to kind of change the working environment. So I get fired up with GitHub, then do what I have to do, and towards the end, after I usually finish. So for example, once I finish with the stream, I am going to probably hop over to Windows, play some Guild Wars 2, do the daily achievements to kind of clear out my mind. And then I will probably try to get off the computer and do something off the computer. That's one thing I'm still struggling with, because a big part of just, kind of also be able to get into a groove is that you are not tired, exhausted, and that you are well rested. And that's so that you have kind of the balance as well. So that's one thing I'm struggling with. Another part is also the regularity. So I have like a dedicated times where I try to really, do very specific work. Or for example, on working days at 2:00, I have a podcast that I'm listening to. So that I do, and usually and now I'm trying to kind of get it. So I listen to the podcast and go take a walk or something like that. So that's kind of like the prerequisites to get it there down. I usually prefer to work at a desk, so I can have 2 monitors and I can have all the stuff that I need. And then once I get going, I usually turn off Slack, Discord, all of those communication. I turn off my emails because that's always distracting. I oftentimes have to also quiet my phone, because, as I say, I get a lot of notification from all the different services. So once I get into that, I don't want to be pulled out of that through some notification that just suddenly bumps out, comes up. And this kind of brings me to my next tool, headphones, so that I don't get distracted from what's going on around my world. And there is this tool called Brain.fm, which I use especially if it's not going too well and kind of want to a bit more force it, or need to really disconnect and really be super focused. And this service, specifically designed music that they have some science behind that triggers something specific in your brain to either more focus, to relax more, or to meditate, or even to sleep. I was full disclosure, one of the early users, so I got a lifetime account for free or not for free. I had to pay for it, but if you follow the link here, you will get a month free, so you can try it out. I highly recommend it. I had another developer that I was teaching who was using that, and he said that it also works, but it's not that oh yeah, I just put my headphones, turn out this focus music, and I'll be able to do wonders. It's not anything like that, but it's if you put it together with the rest of kind of train yourself, which I think is the big part, training yourself to be able to sit and kind of do the work. So if you have it established that you put this on and that's kind of like your go-to work time, then that will really kind of boost you and help you focus on that. So you have there's the tiny link, or you can follow the QR code on that. And when I talked about distraction, another thing that I use is called NextDNS. Again, here is a affiliate link, but you can use it for free. I use it for free, and it's enough for all the for the entire month. And there, what I love about it is that where you can set up, for example, what websites do you want to block, so you can block all the spyware and all the other dangerous website, enable some new Web3 functionality and so on. But it also allows you to set what are your working hours, and then you can block specific websites during those hours. So for example, I can block from 8 to 6 or 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. I can block Facebook, I can block Instagram, X, or any of all the other distracting website. So if I try to go to that, it's just going to show me that this one is blocked. So that is very very nice for me to really stay focused. Of course, I can always turn it off because I can just go into terminal and do the magic there. But oftentimes, especially once I'm at least kind of getting to the float state, just kind of going there and trying to turn it off is too much hassle. So it refocuses me back to that. So those are kind of like the big tools. I have a few more, but Alim, do we have any questions or suggestions in the chat before I continue?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's make this a little more interactive, right? So let's, I'm kind of curious about when you put those headphones on. You said Brain FM. Is it music? What are you listening to?
So you can select there from different types of music. Let me let's actually do it and go there to kind of show you the UI. So you kind of get here and you can then select what you want to do. You can click focus. In this case, it puts me in, and it has music generated. It adjusts by based on on your previous feedback on that, and you can have what are you doing, and there are some additional things like genres and other things that you can adjust. What you want to do here.
Can you adjust by mood? Say for instance, you want to high energy or something, or you want to just chill. Does it account for those kinds of things?
Yes. So for example, as you can see here, I have here what kind of music I want. So I'm more of the classical and orchestral guy. So I have for example, electronics and all the other things turned off because that's distracting.
Yeah, and is it so like when you personally are coding and you are trying to get into that flow state, you prefer classical yourself?
I always prefer classical. I absolutely cannot have, let's just say, any singing or any.
You find that to be
any words. That is a distraction killer, because then my brain starts focusing on what is being what are the words instead of that becoming just a background I lose focus. So
I think that's a good observation for some people. If you've ever decided that you're listening to like your favorite, hip hop or rock or whatever it might be, even polka, if there are words and you find that you're not getting yourself into flow state, you might want to try something that's more instrumental. So, but it's not true for everybody. I know a couple of really great developers that love listening to like the White Stripes, and it worked for them. But so it's your mileage might vary, as they say.
Yeah. And I've kind of cheated and looked at what Jan has been, what he'll be talking. So he has also different taste in music. So that plays a lot.
Küster, do you have do you listen to music when you are working?
Depends on. It's sometimes I need to have it fully quiet. But when I want to get into the zone, especially when it's about coding, like actual coding, programming, then I'm mostly listening to electronic music. And there's a website called di.fm, and that is like only electronic music on that website. It's a streaming, it's an audio streaming service. So it's not like, for example, it's not like Spotify or some way where you select a new title, but it's a constant streaming, like radio. And I like that because I have to get the struggle of thinking about what to play next. Just tune in, and there are so many channels. There's for any electronic subgenre you can think of, there's a channel. So I'm just switching the channel, and from slow to fast, from quiet to aggressive, there's anything you want. And so that's my coding music to get me into the zone.
All right.
Yeah, but again, it's not always, it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
And
so storyteller, you wanna finish up?
Yeah, so that's Brain FM. But for example, for writing, I have a huge Spotify list, so I kind of get fired up by listening a selection of soundtracks. That's most of the times soundtracks that I have for the specific story that I have prepared. So I kind of get fired up by that, and then I can, it kind of helps me write or inspire me to write as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different, but for programming, Brain FM, because then the music kind of becomes, say, the background, and it doesn't it helps me to kind of tune out and focus instead of actively engaging my brain, which is something that I want in creative writing. So that's a bit different. To kind of finish off, another tool that I use is Toggle Track, to kind of keep track on what am I doing, how long does it take me, so that I know kind of where I should focus more with my time. That's something still I'm kind of introduced in December, so I'm still kind of trying to figure out what to do with the data, and it also allows me to kind of keep track a little bit more, and it's very useful, especially if you lose track of time, to see how much actually time have I spent on something specific, so that I can kind of hopefully adjust that or fix if it needs fixing, fix that in the future, or to know that if I need to spend more time on some specific task. So for example, right now one of my tasks is to spend more time on my writing, and kind of potentially also try to limit of how much time I spend working. So for example, I think yesterday I was like working 11 hours total on various things.
Right.
So that's a bit too excessive. And to close this off, one of my biggest challenges right now, as kind of mentioned, is to kind of get more from computer and focus on sports, write more, and generally kind of more on my health, because of course, if you're unhealthy or have don't have a lot of relaxation elsewhere, then everything else is going to suffer as well. The big thing also with that is, if you're unhealthy, it will be much more harder to get into the flow state. Also with the flow state is that it can become very tiresome, and it's so we can, for example, go for a flow state, and as I said, yesterday work 11 hours, but that means that today, as a response to that, or it might just be 4 hours that I might be able to get into the flow state, if at all. So I need to kind of track and balance things out as well.
So this exercise has really had you thinking not just about like what your setup is and how you work within it, but the larger, more holistic view of, well, what else do I need to do in order to make sure that I can optimize myself for when I get into this flow state.
Or another thing is also kind of helps me if I kind of see, yesterday I worked 11 hours, then I don't feel guilty today for not working 8 hours or something like that, because then, I have, a bit of a reserve from yesterday. So
sure.
In that way, it can help. Or it can be another way. It can be like a motivator. Okay, I have not, put in the hours enough. Yeah. So let's try and get stuff done today. So can both work ways.
All right, let's switch on over now to our friend Küster, who I think is going to give us a little bit of a walking tour also of his space. So do you need a little time to set up on that, or are we good?
Let me talk for a second, and then in the meantime we can set up the mobile device. So why I'm going to do this, because the environment where I'm in is very important to me. Let's see if I can. So you should be able to see my phone now on the list.
Okay, I don't see it yet.
It's joining.
It's joining now. It's joining now. Okay, let's add this. Let's add this there, and let's swap it out.
So let me start from the point where I come into the room. So this is basically my coding room here, my office, and for me it's really important to have a space in my room for thinking and for creativity. And actually, the way you see this right now, this is just cleaned up. So the more I'm working towards a milestone, the untidier it gets. But this is basically my desktop setup. And as you can see here, what's very important to me is to hide many of the cables here out of my sight. So when I'm sitting in front of my desktop, that most of the cables are gone. And because of that, I can surely say that I have 20 years of plus experience in cable management. So you can call me a manager already. Yeah. And this is one of the most important factors for me, is that when I'm sitting on my desk, that these cables don't distract me. I know it sounds weird, but cables are distracting to me. Very important also is that this desk is actually movable, because I need to work in standing position as well from time to time, especially in my meetings. And this is very important, because when I'm sitting too long, then I get some kind of a back pain. So I'm switching between sitting and standing. And this is important for the flow state, because then the more kind of pains and stuff you have, the more annoying it gets when you're coding, And another tiny but very important thing is this mat down there. So when I'm standing, then I'm actually standing bare feet on this mat, and that is super comfortable. What else is there to say? I really love that when the speakers, as you can see, are in the correct position. So when I'm listening to music, that I'm in the total zone between the speakers, and the music is actually panning exactly between my ears in the correct center. Because I don't wear headphones too long. It hurts on my ears, and it's my way of enjoying the music. Also very important is this guy. That's my little helper plant, same as these guys here. So I want to put some plants in the room at many points, and so this is also one more important thing is to have easily put my ideas on my whiteboard. So all this together is basically responsible for creating this kind of atmosphere for coding, where I'm basically in the zone. And and there's one more important thing. I need to have these guys. You know what these guys are doing? They're responsible for putting all the stuff inside I don't want to see, making the annoying stuff disappear. And yeah, so so that's one important.
Hang on. Yep.
I've lost him for a little. Need to switch.
Your microphone is off.
Yeah, sorry, that was the transition was not so perfect. This is the environment that I need in a certain way to be in order to feel the way I want to feel. You know, hiding all that stuff that's distracting, and having my setup. For example, as you've seen the screens, I have always a second screen that is in the vertical position, which is really important for watching websites and analyzing my own web apps. So I have more space to see, because most of the content is top down. And so this is basically the room. This is just about the room. Of course, there's also one more thing, and that is the coding environment and the virtual environment, the desktop on my machine. And for this, I'm using since ages Xubuntu, because on the one hand, I love the ease of integration in Ubuntu. I never had any issues with integrating anything. I'm not gaming on my Linux environment, so apart from that, I never had any issues. And I'm using Xubuntu because the XFCE desktop is very lightweight. So it's a super simple desktop that is just clean. And let me share something just for you to see. So just let me open a project here. I just want to in the meantime open something. So for example, the community packages.
Are you sharing right now?
Sorry. Wait.
Okay.
So again. So for example, the community packages I'm usually developing in JetBrains WebStorm, the same as Jan is doing. And once we had that issue that the contrast was not sufficient enough, and Alim told me about that, I was changing my contrast much more to the high contrast thing. And I got used to it. I got really used to it. So I love this total black background with these high contrast colors now, and I don't want to get back to the other ones. This is my preferred setup now. I just got used to it, and I really love it. I wouldn't switch it to any else back. And talking about Linux desktop again, this XFCE, it's super lightweight. It has just the cheap stuff you know from old Windows systems, some some old menu bar with some categories and your tabs, switching between a few virtual desktops, and my notification bar. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing that is distracting me. No widgets and fancy things that could explode at any time. Just simple desktop IDE on a simple level. I'm still coding only with Copilot, so the same as we already talked before. Just integration, not really a full AI IDE. And I mean, it's also because I'm used to it. I did this for years in that kind of setup, and yeah, I know it's hard to break out of your routine, but on the other hand, if I need to be productive and I need to get things done, I need that routine right now to get into the zone. When I'm now switching to a new IDE, I will not get into that zone before the next 4 weeks are gone, 100%. So this is the virtual environment part. Let me see if there's something else here. Oh yes, of course. Consumables. I always have a pack of water bottles here, right down there. That's really important because let's be honest. When there is nothing in reach and we're in the zone, then we're not drinking enough. And as you already know, don't hydrate your abs, hydrate your body. This is really important. And we need to hydrate much more. So this is why this stuff is standing right here next to me. So I just grab it, drink it, and forget it. Yes. So this is my setup.
It's a lot more sensible than what I used to do. Like I told you, it was Pepsi and cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. When this is in reach, then this is what you consume. When you have Pepsi in the reach, then you will consume a Pepsi. And when you have I have this no sugar. It's not a strict policy, but I would love to have it as a strict policy that my desktop is always sugar free, and instead I don't know, fruits or vegetables or stuff like this, because what's in the reach is what you will consume.
Yeah.
That's my hypothesis.
Lately, I just have tea. I don't often have water anymore. What I've found I enjoy is coconut water. So from time to time, I'll have some coconut water here, and you've probably seen a couple episodes where I have this, 1 liter, carton of coconut water, and you're not hearing me, or you are hearing me. I'm not hearing you.
I'm hearing you.
I wasn't hearing Jan for a second. I don't know if
no, everything is fine.
Everything is fine. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of want, if I can, touch on the water thing.
Sure.
This is recently something I've read that water by itself will not hydrate you, because you need all the other things that are usually. So if you just have completely clear and filtered water, it actually doesn't really do that much, unless you kind of need to flush things through your body. So teas, coconut water especially was highlighted as super good for hydration. I had that, didn't like the taste, but I think I might get used to it. I now have aloe vera water, and I have kind of got a subscription to a Czech startup that kind of produces, it's called Cans, that produces these sugar-free but tasteful mineral water. Whereas you can, it's not, you cannot not really taste it like if it's sugary, but you can have this aftertaste of, say apple or peach or something like that. So that's very, very interesting. So I have subscription for that, to have that in addition to all my teas and other things. And as Jan said, whatever kind of comes nearby, that's good. And I've kind of been trying to get away from sugar, so I'm getting used much more drinking tea without any of the things, but sometimes it's pretty difficult. So that's
I dropped sugar about 3 years in my tea. I used to have tea with sugar, and I dropped sugar about maybe 3-4 years ago. And initially it it didn't taste right, but I've gotten used to the taste now. And actually, if I put sugar in, it's probably going to be, unpleasant to me. So, Küster,
Mhm.
you do martial arts, or do you still do martial arts, or?
Yeah, when I'm back recovered, then I will go back like once a week. I mean, come on, I'm in that mode, and in that mode, I'm happy when I can do some sports once a week, and because sorry, I'm not these superhumans who can get up at 4:30 a.m. and do their sports routine, and I mean there are already these hilarious videos on YouTube mocking about these lifestyles. I can't do it, so I have to find like one day in a week to do sports. By the way, just coming back for a second to the water thing,
Yes.
in Germany, there's a law about how you can name your waters. If you want to name your water mineral water, it must become out of a well and have a certain level of minerals inside it, and you always have a list of the minerals. I don't want to make advertisement, but there is a list of minerals down what you can have, and very important, guys. Buy it out of glass bottles. Don't use plastic. That's also not good.
Yeah. Plastics.
Yeah, but yeah, sports. I would love to do more sports, but I know everyone of us would love to do, right?
Yeah, the reason I ask is, do you find that that sort of the physical routine also helps you? Do you feel less sluggish, for instance, when you're
Totally.
Yeah, and so when you sit down and you work and you get into flow state, you can really stay a little longer because your body is not fighting you so much.
I think what I found, but I found this very early on already in when I started studying, is that when I'm really stressed out, a good hard sports routine is really good to reset your mental state and to lower your stress level a lot, at least for me. And then next day I'm back in the game.
That's pretty
Alim,
awesome.
are you still in the game?
I am. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
My camera is. I told you I'm having some technical difficulties over here, and all of a sudden, it looked like it was pixelating on my side. So I was just rummaging around trying to see if I could fix that. So I think these are all very useful things. And is there anything else that you wanted to add to your situation, Küster?
I would like to add that since I'm in the basement now, this is much more comfortable, because when I was in my old office, which wasn't even really office, was a shared room, kids would come and join me all the time, and despite everyone
Your kids are just kids in general,
kids.
like your kids, or just children randomly
I don't
from
my kids. My kids. I just say, like, despite everybody loves their kids. You know how it is. They can be totally straight in your face, asking you a thing while you deep inside the hardest work, and they will not. They will just still come by and ask you and get you out of your zone. And now I'm down here, and this is just much more quiet.
That's terrific. So it's having your own space, right, where you can put the rest of the world aside. I think that's very, very helpful. So I think Storyteller had described his own routine about getting into the flow. What's your routine?
Oh, you mean me? Sorry, my routine. So,
I think he was snapping into the zone just now, and
So it depends. It depends on. So when I want to start coding and I have a goal, that's very important. So when I have a goal, I'm coding towards too, and not like daily chores and daily stuff. I'm definitely starting some music set, and then make sure that everything is also very important. Get this thing off. The further away, the better. and also put in my chats off. Although I do it very rarely with the chats, because I can also just make myself offline, and then that's I can still see if someone writes and still decide if I want to answer or not. I think this is not so distracting to me, but and apart from that, just getting started. That's very
Yeah.
important. I just need to get started to get done.
So let me just add some things to the we didn't really, normally we'll drop in some of the chats that are going on in the background. We're a little behind right here. Kelly had talked about well water as one of the other sources of hydration, and avoid sugar. That's by who was that? That's Hendry. Okay. And Kelly also mentions yoga, breathing, and meditation that can help you with this. And Hendry said, looking at Küster, I seriously need to tidy up my my desk. Yeah. So somebody else said that they spotted the IKEA drawers. IKEA is awesome. I think IKEA is an awesome resource for finding things that can actually be, that have triple or quadruple use. As a matter of fact, the bookcases in the background over here, the white ones are IKEA. So, I happen to like them, and that works out well. And somebody else had written, my desktop is less actual wood of the desk and more the cables and notebooks that have taken over the entire surface of it. I mean, I think this is a truth, right, that we all face in our setups. Every now and then you accrue things, and then you have to spend the time to clean it off. And sometimes you feel like there is no time, but I think you do have to find the time to do this. I have a physical KVM, 4 screens on one side over here, a single screen over here, my laptop here, 2 Mac Minis that are driving the 4 screens. And because of the KVM, there's this nest of cables that sit on my desk, and then a couple of power strips that are also on here. And then I have all sorts of random things like my Kindle, the hat from the last time we did the, the thing in the wild, right? I have the Literary Universe hat that I keep close by so that I can support Jan from time to time. And then, various note papers and things that are all over. It's a mess. It's a mess. And so maybe this is why I can't get into a Zen state also, is because I have all of these other things that are here. So I think it's really great that you guys shared how you've set your environment up to be productive and to be able to get things in. I really like the fact that Küster has decided that there is a way to keep the children of the town from showing up in his office. And, because now he's down in the basement, it's probably a little hard for them to know exactly where to go. But yeah, random children showing up is not always the best thing. It's also the issue with like cats and dogs, so it's really nice that I actually have the space where I have a door that I can close and I can come in here. And for the most part, I'm not interrupted. But we do have a spare refrigerator downstairs here. This is an apartment in my house. It's like, I don't know how they built it, but it has its own separate entrance and so on. And so that I've just turned this into my office, but from time to time, my wife will come down to retrieve things from the spare refrigerator, and she will show up. So, I don't have purely private space, but it's private enough, and it does give me that. So I have to do a lot of work in decluttering. What I loved about Küster's space is how decluttered it is, but I also know that you work very hard to declutter that space. So it's not always that way. I think several episodes ago, you had shared with us.
Yeah.
Over in the corner, there was a whole pile of stuff.
Yeah, there's still an official dumpster down here at my left side, where I just dumped down all the especially paper and all that stuff, and pencils and small things where I still don't know where I should put them. Just dump it down here. And honestly, we have another room in the basement, which is mostly our dumpster for all the stuff we have no place for, So yeah.
Call it storage. Call it storage. It sounds a little better.
It's storage. It's between storage and dumpster, actually.
Yeah, and the other thing I have is there is a box over on the far back side over here that has a standing desk that I bought 2 years ago almost now that I haven't set up yet because I still have to declutter enough to build that desk and then use it. But my intention with that desk is because it has a glass top and it's white underneath is to use that as sort of like a whiteboard where I can actually film like looking down and I can just sit and write at it. So or stand and write at it because it's a standing desk, so I probably should use it that way. So anyway, we just wanted to share with you guys this week the setups that keep some people productive. It's a little different than what we've done in the past, but we thought this would be nice. And I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add before we sign out this week.
I have, I could say, as much as you say, to kind of have your space that nobody disturbs you in, with be it kids or dogs or cats. At the same time, you also kind of need them that they can come in and grab you and drag you out, so that you don't get completely consumed. Yeah. And finally, I also kind of want to say is, part of the Zen is to kind of address, I would say, at least for me, part of it, what I kind of wear today is one of my clothes that I like to wear. This is Japanese samurai, which is, you could say, a bit more monastic. It kind of comes from the Buddhist monks. And I have other piece of clothing, especially as summer approaches, and this room will get super hot. So all the yukata that I have, that will be what I will be wearing, and I'm super comfortable in that clothing and in this clothing. So that also kind of sets me at ease. And I've heard other people, they, for example, even if they were like from home office, they can have to dress up like they are going into an actual office. Yeah. And I do recall this is from my dad's, somebody he knew. He had like a home office, but he had to go outside of the house, turn around, go in, and go into the office to be able to work. So
I did. It's funny because there is an apartment in the house, right? That I told you. There is a door from the house that goes into where I am. But what I used to do at the very beginning when we first moved here was I would leave the house, go around to the entrance to the apartment, and let myself in, so that I could have that. I've gotten lazy over the years. I don't do that anymore. But it was sort of like to create that mental space that I'm going to the office, and now it's just shortcuts for me. So maybe I should do that again. I think that would be
because you kind of want to switch the mental state from now I'm at home, now I'm at work.
Yeah, I used to carry a briefcase also doing that. So my laptop in my briefcase, walk in, it's just ridiculous.
But these little things might work. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So give it a try, everybody, and see how it works for you.
Yeah, share what works for you and let us know about it. And somebody else, hang on, let me just pop this in here. I just set up some drawers in my house to act as legs for my spare desktop. Yep. Yeah, people do that, right? They I don't know if you know, but there are a lot of startups where I'm trying to remember what the famous startup was. It might have been Google, might have been but in any case, there was one of them where they would go out and instead of buying desks, they would go to Home Depot or a hardware store and buy doors, and then buy drawers, and the door is the desktop and the drawers were the legs. So this is a famous cheap way that startups used to give developers their desk space to work with. So by the way, I've gone to the store recently, and doors are expensive. It's cheaper to buy a desk than it is to buy doors.
know what, Alim, it's important to get some of these DIY solutions to the developers, because the funding, seed funding money is actually for the BMWs of the CEOs.
Yes, and even more importantly now that there are these big tariffs everywhere, right? So you've
Yeah.
got to make sure that you can buy that BMW. You're
Yeah.
going to have to pay quite a bit more for it.
And it's a good team building exercise. Okay, guys, we are now building some DIY desktops for everyone in this room.
It's kind of cool. So, Storyteller, let's talk about, before we sign off, let's talk about the opportunity that's coming in the fall.
Yeah, actually, I just remembered one more thing, and it's kind of related to one of the article that I think was Jan post, or maybe you, Alim, who posted in the notes, which is from Josh Collinsworth about the blissful zen of a good side project. And that now just reminded me is one of the things, it doesn't matter how much zen you can get if you really do not want to do something.
Yeah.
And actually, one thing that I've discovered with Windsurf or with AI in general is it's much more easier for me to get started on issues and things that I don't really want to do, or I don't, it's not like something I want to go get going.
Yeah.
So if I just put it into the Windsurf to kind of get started, and then I can dive into it, it's much more faster, because then it's kind of it gets me started, as Jan, as you said, getting started, that's kind of the hard part.
Yeah.
In creative writing, it's the blank page, which is the biggest obstacle sometimes. So that's one, I would say quite a good benefit of AI in this. And with that also, having a good potentially side project to kind of keep you motivated, or kind of have a go-to where you can kind of geek out as it is, and play with the different new things that you might not be able to do in your main project.
But let's stick on this getting started thing for a second, because I think this is really important. Do you guys ever encounter a situation where you sit down and you that you have work to do? And here's the thing, like, I know that when I get in the zone, I'm gone. And so I feel a little guilty about that sometimes, because there are other things that need to be done. Dinner needs to be made. The lawn needs to be mowed. Maybe I need to go out and take care of some packages or something, right? Just chores that need to happen. And so I know that once I'm there, I feel a little guilty. And so that sometimes like stops me from getting there. But the other thing too is, maybe the vacuuming needs to be done, right? There needs to be cleaning up around. And there are all these little things that I keep thinking about. Like, I need to send an email. I have some side projects that I'm working on where I have obligations to other people. And I know that once I put myself in, I'm going to be gone for 16 hours. So do you ever find yourself like being held back from starting because you feel like you've got these other things? And how do you kind of say to yourself, well, this is more important, or like, how do you get past that hump sometimes? Because to me, that sometimes is, one of the things that prevents me from getting moving. And obviously, like, if I have to clean up my desk and so on, like, the thing we talked about how you set up your environments so that you don't have to think about these things, you can get right to work, is great. But there are these other obligations, if you want to call them that sometimes you feel like, I need to get these things done. But if you actually spend all your time doing that, you get nothing done in terms of what you need to do. And then there's always the next day where, like, well, there's always something showing up on your inbox, so to speak. So how do you deal with that?
For me, it's still work in progress, trying to figure out the best way for me how to deal with this, especially like, I'm not that good as I would like to be in communication, and I have quite a big backlog of emails that I need to send, and a few other things that I need to get started. So it's still a work in progress, especially like with sending emails. That's something I'm not good at. I maybe with Reddit just because of the backlog that I have. So so far what I have is or paperwork. That's a common work. If I have to do paperwork and other things that I'm not good at, and that really take me very long time. I just have to really set a big chunk of time and to do it. Really have it on my calendar, and really kind of stick to it. There's just like no way of going around it.
Yeah,
for the house chores, for example, I think what Kelly has written is one option, but I think what I might want to do it is kind of force myself at the end of the day to really get to it, do the house chores and everything, to kind of have the buffer from closing the computer before I go to sleep, because that's recommended to kind of have a buffer where you don't stare into a screen. So putting it there, that's something that I will try to implement more.
Yeah. So Kelly had a really useful comment. Hang on, what did he say also? He does chores for 2 hours, and then Fridays are for errands around the house. Okay, that's really cool. I mean, I guess you guys never wake up late. You never, have this issue with, for instance, from myself, like I often go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's not just because of the show, it's just sort of how I'm built. And then I try to get up by 8:30 in the morning to get back up again. But it often, sometimes I don't get that. And then, I'm tired, obviously, because I haven't slept properly. And then I'm a little lethargic. And then, the things that I plan, I don't always get done the way I want to. And I have this guilt that I constantly work with in terms of doing this. So I try to use Trello and create Trello cards, but my backlog is huge. So it's one of those things where it's, I keep on shifting dates on things, and I'm trying to figure these out, but I don't have a perfect solution. And I find it to be difficult sometimes. So Küster, the same question to you in terms of having this backlog of things and feeling like you have an obligation to address some of those or all of them before you can actually put yourself into the zone. Küster, that was for you.
Sorry, I'm muted. I might be just too good in blending these things out.
Yeah.
And then I'm avoiding them, and then they pile up, and then I have to spend one day every 2 weeks to get everything done that's not done. That's a hard thing. So sometimes when I know that my my mail inbox, for example, is too full, then this is the first thing I do in the morning, especially when there are projects that are very communication heavy. I'm doing this first, definitely, to get this done. But apart from that, I think the excitement to program and build something is often stronger than my obligations to the chores, especially like these not everything that's are not non-programming tasks. And it's also easier to delegate communication tasks to my colleagues that are doing these things, mostly because some of the colleagues are actually not developers, and then they ask me for some favors, so I can ask them back, like, hey, can you help me with that email and do that for me? And so yeah, I'm good in avoiding these tasks.
I guess that's a reasonable way of doing it. So in a sense, delegating and deferring are strategies that you can use also. All right, I think I just have to work harder at getting myself back into flow state and not feeling so guilty when I do it. It's one of those things. I think all of us who have experienced flow state, it's it's awesome because like you are so productive when you're in
Yep.
this zone. And if you've been in it and you've experienced it, in a sense, it's like a joy. But at the same time, you know, it can almost feel selfish because it is just about you, and everybody else around you is like not necessarily getting the benefit from it because you know, you are away for a while. But I have to say I do enjoy getting into that state from time to time, and I would like to set my environment up so that when I walk in, I'm not looking and saying, "Oh, that needs to be dusted and that needs to be put away," and so, you know, all of these things put a burden on you that stops you from really trying to get to that place where you want to go. And I think food coma. So I had written here that I sleep for about 3 hours, get up again, and so on. I'm not proud of this. That was going to be just private, but then you know, Jan, storyteller, wrote food coma is something I fight with a lot and check food. And that is another topic for a day for itself. So anyway, maybe I should have just get that in the chat so that if you actually wanted to know what we're talking about, you could just go right into the chat on the episode and contribute to it too. So folks, storyteller, what's happening in September, October?
So on September, we are having our Meteor conference, Meteor Impact. And you can find more about it at impact.meteorjs.community. You can sign up there. If you are interested in becoming sponsored, it's all those things are there. But please do sign up. Right now, it's going to be an online free conference. But we are looking for potential in-person meetings in a few locations. So please do sign up for the conference so that we can get an idea, of where are people from and how many people are interested in attending the day of. So the more of you sign up, the more options there will be for us. So right now, just signs you up for the newsletter, but that's really what all the information that we need, and we can take that from there. So sign up for Meteor Impact, and I will see you at the next announcements for that.
Yeah, that's great. I do want to announce one thing, which is the New York community is going to be moving off Meetup, Meetup.com. Meetup.com, I discovered, doubled their fees last November, and I don't want to keep paying these fees anymore. It's gotten very expensive, and I don't really get a lot of value out of it anymore. So I'm going to continue to encourage the folks that are at the New York meetup to join in the general Meteor community, get on the Discord, and follow the actions there. And we'll try to use those forums to set up local meetups from time to time in New York once we can get some space and we can get a critical mass of people that are interested in joining again. But with regard to this, I think we're done for the week. Guys, thank you for spending your time and sharing. Folks that are in the chat, very much appreciate you joining us again today here. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.